thank you for embracing their voice. I'm Lala Cindy Caldwell Dunson, and joining me is Jessica Wells. We will be your hosts this evening, discussing children with special needs, outcomes, and parents of children with special needs. We'll be discussing challenges, experiences, and today, unfortunately, one of our moms of a child with special needs admitted to killing her son. I got the information right before I was supposed to interview Diana Elliott, a mother of a child with special needs, feeling a little bit overwhelmed. The news states, and she tried to get help and was arrested. Well, she went to the hospital, and we'll discuss that another time. But Jessica, just to kind of continue on, you said you did get more information about Miss, I believe her name is Patricia Ripley.
Yeah, she does. It said mother. I think she is two children. So there's two children. So she has another child. So, but I'm assuming, I don't know if there's two others or just one other, but it said that she had more than one, more than Alejandro. So,
okay, and just to update,
that adds a little bit more to the plate.
And just to update those that are just now joining us, a mother of a child with special needs. I did not know if she stated she was overwhelmed or what have you. Jessica, you have more information. What we're hearing and what we're finding out, there's actual footage. There's actual footage of this mother, Miss Patricia Ripley, pushing her. Well, she did push him in what was that, a lake? Or
it was a canal. The canal.
And she wasn't
the first attempt. Oh, it was a canal. Yeah, the first attempt was in a canal, and it was recorded. There's footage of that, and what it is with the footage, if anybody hasn't seen it, and you really don't want to see it, I just got done seeing it here just a minute ago, is she's walking with him along the canal, and you see her caressing his hair, his head, and the next thing you know, out of the blue, she just pushes him in the canal and runs out of view of camera. And then the next thing you know, in like a few seconds, literally a second, there's a Good Samaritan running with her back to the canal, and the Good Samaritan goes in and gets the boy. And I believe that was I think that's over by apartments. I'm not sure. Okay. The video I had was in Spanish, and I'm not quite fluent in Spanish. So.
She didn't go back to get him. She actually left him there to drown. Just correct me if I'm wrong. And then a Good Samaritan went to rescue him.
Yeah, and she goes off. She runs off as soon as she pushes him in the water forcefully. In the canal, she runs out of view of the camera, and you see the next thing you see is her and the mother, Miss Patricia. You see her, Miss Patricia, and a Good Samaritan. It looks like a male, run to the canal, and the Good Samaritan's getting down into the canal to get the boy, and that's where I stopped the video. But that was the first attempt. So that was earlier in the evening, and then after that,
okay. I'm so sorry, Jessica.
I was told what I read was a golf course.
So I'm sorry. Okay. Forgive me. If I'm not listening, because I'm still digesting all this. And first, before we go any further, I want to again send condolences out to Ahmad, Arbery's parents, and my heart goes out to you, Alejandro Ripley. Now, is it fair to say that it was an attempt, it was not successful? Someone witnessed this and they assisted Alejandro And then she was able to successfully do it later. When they saw that, what happened after? They're part of this murder.
Really, to be honest, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, I've read a lot of comments where people are like, well, why didn't that person call the police? I don't know those details. I'm sure in the affidavit there'll be more information. I know that the county did, did their little press interview, and they said there'll be more information coming. But yeah, that is a big concern. Is why was the police not called? I don't know. I don't want to shame the Good Samaritan, but and that's heavy on that person's heart,
Yes,
My
and
goodness, I just saved him, and now he's dead, what, an hour later. So it's something, but
and you're right. And there goes my
I mean,
emotions. There, let me remove my emotions, because you're absolutely right. We don't know what that person was going through. Maybe they could have thought, well, maybe it was an accident, because I didn't see the video very clear, but I will say it does look like she's brushing or stroking his hair, and then I see
yeah.
her running away. And you know what I said? This is just to let
Mm-hmm.
you know that I was in shock. I said, are they trying to say that she's trying to drown her son when she's probably trying to go get help? Did you hear me? This is what my brain is thinking, when you're like, what? Did you really do that? Maybe she's trying to go get him help. And I'm thinking, no, so in other words, if they had have gotten some help at that point, he would still be with us.
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of like these, detectives and DAs around the country are going to be talking about this case, obviously. But going in their mindset and how they break this stuff down is she caressed him before she pushed him. And as a mother, I mean, I'm going to get a little emotional, but I'm going to try to keep it out. But as a mother, when you're caressing your child, you're showing them love. You're like, I love you. That's showing a nonverbal child that you love them. And then just push. And maybe at that time, not condoning it, the first attempt, maybe she's like, uh-oh, but she ran off, and then this Samaritan's running with her back to the canal. So, but the break where I don't get it is, how can you say is snap if just an hour, and then an hour after that he was dead because she attempted the second time, and that second time it was successful. So as a mother and as a human being, I don't know. I know that I did read that they said she was getting overwhelmed these last few months, maybe because of the social distancing, and this distance learning, because I know he was going through a special needs school, and then they were doing therapy in the home. But hearing she has like I said earlier, just because she hearing that she has a husband and she has a family that are back, saying she's really not a bad person, that makes me wonder, who didn't see the signs? If they're stating that, obviously, if the police are stating that she's saying that she was then overwhelmed, someone had to see this, especially this big support that she has around her all the time. And that's, unfortunately, this is something that we shouldn't have to be listening about. And anybody going through and losing a child, and also her life is gone now, think about it. But it's just, there's red flags, and this is a time to reflect and say, we need to start paying attention to everybody in our life. Is there a red flag going on? Look at this stuff. Just like in our schools, when we talk about, we're really big advocates about our schools. The same thing. What you got to pay attention to the red flags, and I think even therapists would agree that she caressed him before, so there was love right there, and then it was boom. So,
And
and then the second
some
time,
parents, and a lot of parents are not
pushing him in
mentally,
water and setting in your vehicle.
a lot of parents aren't mentally equipped to mentally stable to work with our children with special needs. I mean, enough said right there. a lot of people just aren't, and they try to cope. They try to cope, and it's so sad that she assumed, and this is just what I'm assuming. She assumed that she could not give him a better life. It was overwhelming to her, and she felt, this is what I'm thinking, you know, poor baby, you deserve better. I'm gonna let you be free because I'm not doing a good job with you. And the mindset of her thinking that that's okay, that was gonna validate her not having to watch him, I guess, not handle certain stressors that she couldn't assist him with. Wow, wow, wow. And this is why we have their voice, because God knows, and Jessica, you and I could not have, we're not magical parents, but I do understand firsthand. I mean, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know about you, Jessica, but I get overwhelmed sometimes. But there's no part of my brain that could wrap around, I'm so overwhelmed, Landon needs to be with God. That just does not make sense to me. However, some people, they're not like you and I. Their breaking point is different. You know what I mean? And I don't want to make excuses for this woman because, like I said earlier, I want to shake her. I want to kick her in her stomach. I want to see her hold her stomach, and then I want to say, "Poor mom, what were you going through? With oh my God!" And then I want to, you know what I'm saying? And then I want to hit her. This is just raw emotions. But at the end of the day, as you said, Alejandro is no longer here. Her life is gone. I feel so sorry for her. I feel so sorry for her because when she, and I don't want to, I know you don't like snap, but I don't know if she's going to snap out of it or what's going to happen. But she obviously doesn't realize what she has done, or if she's callous. I don't know. And I would love to interview her. I would really love to interview her. What was going on? Because honestly, we can never bring Alejandro back. But I'm telling you, we can talk to our parents and find out what was going on so that we can see signs in other parents and help them. As you said, we've got to be there for one another. We have to continue to watch. We've got to be our sister's keeper, our brother's keeper. We must, even if we say, hey, you know, there's resources. There's, you know, here in the state of Georgia, we have the James and Mary Foundation. We have Ron, They Can Talk, but we can. We have Their Voice. We have our children's story. We have so many different resources. And I'm just, for anyone that's watching and or listening, thank you for allowing us in your homes or in your vehicles. Please, please share this video, or if you know someone that has a child with special needs, say, here, I want to tell you about Their Voice. There's a few people that would love to, and you don't have to be on the show. We can talk to them confidence. I mean, confidentially. Confidentiality is my middle name. Yeah. So we can definitely, you know, I mean, they have numbers for with the safe line for women that are being abused. They have so many different lines. Jessica, you know, we don't have enough resources here, but we have to create them. And that's why it's important to get legislation signed again for the Dunson, Hatcher, and Wells Act. We need those video cameras in the classes for children with special needs. We need them in front of parents' homes. I mean, I'm not a perfect mother by no means, and I know you're not, but we definitely have to support the representative Stovall's that are really caring about our children. Angel Massey, who I believe is going to be our next District 74 state rep. Whoever takes that position, whoever it is, we have to embrace them. We cannot fuss about changes, Jessica, and not do anything about it. You know what I mean? And that's why you and I are here today to say, hey, we can do it. So,
Well, with Alejandro's case and Miss Elliott's case and all these cases we hear, I know down here in Georgia we call it DFACS, and a lot of other areas in the country we call it CPS. It just, a lot of times I think a lot of parents are afraid to reach out for help because
right.
they're afraid that they're going to be
You know
shamed.
what?
And in Miss Elliott's case, that was the case. And
And you
that's
know,
a big thing we have to change. And as a nation, we need to step up and say, if people are afraid to reach out for help, we're doing something wrong. We need to admit that we're doing something wrong, and we need to get it changed. Because we don't have all the resources. We really don't have a lot of resources, especially with this COVID-19. A lot of the states, they're having to cut their budgets. So there goes, there might go the budget that they really needed that money for mental health and things like that. And it's getting slashed, and we don't need no slashes in mental health,
you know what? It's funny you
care
say about social services.
but there's a lot.
You know what they should start doing, and I may even contact some counterparts here in Atlanta, because I will be contacting some of my counterparts in Los Angeles and in Compton to find out. You know what they should do? We should, for those departments that are constantly putting children with their parents that are clearly unable to handle today's stressors, and for those that are taking their children from wonderful parents because they don't know what to do, they should actually, for all parents with children, all parents of children with special needs, and honestly all children, there should be where they can call, or I hate to say this because I know a lot of parents are going to be upset with me, knocking on the door, hey, we just want to check on Alejandro and see how he's doing. We know he has special needs, and we know it's a lot of challenges. How are you doing? I mean, honestly speaking, I wouldn't mind if somebody came and knocked on my door and said, hey, we want to check on Landon, and I would say, he's fine, thank you. Say hi, Landon. Not in a way where you're attacking, the parent, but because, like you said, we don't need any slashes. We don't need any loose holes in the when it comes to our children with special needs and parents. I just there's just
well, that's why I think that with us, with us and Ron, us three, we're more than willing at any time of the day, no matter what time it is, even in late or early morning hours, if someone needs to reach out and say, hey, I'm overwhelmed, I need to talk to somebody, we're there. And I know a lot of people said that they're doing that, but it's really important for special needs parents to be there for other special needs parents, because when it comes to like CPS, I'm going to say CPS because most people refer it to that. If they come knocking on your door, the first thing you worry about is, they're out to get me, and they have a bad name. And there's a lot of things wrapped around that. I'm not going to go into detail, but let me give an example. I will give it out there. I don't care. I live in Richmond County, Georgia, and there's been multiple times. I've been here for 6 years. Okay. The end of this month, I'll be here 6 years. And multiple times since I've been here, through the alleged special needs abuse my son has occurred. Both 2 of my sons, their special needs have occurred. All 4 of my sons have experienced things too. My gen ed students with school abuse, and how many times I've been retaliated against, and they use DFACS/CPS on me, and I'm so used to them coming, but every time that it's falsely used against me, it's almost, to me, that I refer it to as abuse towards my children, because it gets them worried. And I always have to tell them, there's nothing to worry about. Do we have anything to worry about? This is just what some people do. And unfortunately, that's been part of our life since we've been here in Georgia. I mean, if they call me or knock on my door, I'm thinking, here we go again. Here's a false accusation, because we're speaking up and speaking out against abuse.
And see, they have a really
more organization.
I'm sorry, go on. I'm sorry, Jessica.
Go ahead.
No, you go on. I'm so sorry. I'm just so.
Oh, it's okay. I was just going to say, I just wish we had more organizations not just across the state of Georgia, but across all the states that we could have, where if you're, I don't even have to be a special needs parent, just a parent and you're overwhelmed, that you can call, that's not related to, CPS, because some parents, they just freak out when you say that.
And
not saying there's a bad situation, but
to make it to where, as you said, let's face it, DFACs, they have a bad name. And unfortunately, there's a lot of great people working there, but a lot of parents are fearful. And I understand, I get it. I definitely think we should have a different platform now. We should allow people not to feel that when DFACs is, and honestly speaking, let me remove that whole DFACs. It doesn't have to be DFACs. I mean, another organization, a more friendlier approach.
Yeah.
I mean, to say, hey, we want this group of people, like, when the COVID-19, there's a certain, they called National Guard, you understand, to help bridge the gap in so many areas. Okay, well, they should design another part of, and again, we won't call it DFACs, because DFACs serve so many great purposes. So they have great reasons, but I'll be honest with you, some of it is abused, and our parents are feeling as though we're being attacked or picked on because we're not afraid to talk, or afraid to speak up. So there needs to be a different approach, and with a different name, that, as you said, reaching out to our parents of children with special needs. And I know someone's listening saying, what about other parents? All parents, of course, but again, I'm speaking about children with special needs. And because we're overwhelmed, and honestly speaking, guess what? If that is in place, where there is an organization that is designed to work with our parents, well, guess what? You're going to have some parents that, because I'm one of those parents that I don't trust a lot of people, but where do you get that trust? So some people that are going to need help are not going to get it because they're afraid, and that's why their voice is here, because I really want to engage with people. Again, we do not have to be on Zoom meeting. We do not have to publicize. We do not have to, we can say, hey, let's have a private conversation. And honestly speaking, it's therapeutic for me too. I enjoy talking to other parents of children with special needs, because my friends that don't have children with special needs, sometimes they think that I'm being a little bit antisocial, and I'm not. I'm just, you don't understand. So I've got to be a little bit more meticulous with what I say and what I do.
Yeah.
So,
because there's a lot of groups on Facebook of special needs parents, but there's only so many things that you can say without other people looking at it the wrong way, even in our special needs community, and it's just, if anybody's listening, you can always reach out to us. We have a page on Facebook, Georgia Cameras and Special Needs Classroom. Send us a message. It's just, three of us that see that, and we will not share any information. We're always available. You can find us, you can find us on Facebook. You can send us messages anytime. We can give out email. I know, Layla, you're really good at putting your email out there for your organization. We're always available. I know I'm always available. I'm available. I get calls from parents all the time. There's no time that I don't get one.
Jessica, if I have,
we're here.
If I haven't thanked you now, I'd like to publicly thank you for being so supportive and being my sister through this whole Lala Dunson Act, and now the Dunson Hatcher Mose Act, and just outside of that, off the record, just being a true loyal friend and sister. I just so appreciate the hard work you do for our community. It does not go unnoticed, and I'm so happy that you're a lot like me when it comes to responding. I know you're busy. Sometimes you'll respond to me, and I think the longest has been 30 minutes, but you respond, and it feels so good to know that we're working together as a team. And the relationship that we have, including Ron, and a lot of other relationships I have on Facebook with our special needs mom, that's Chrissy Marrero, one just to name a few. Anacanonis. I mean, we have our moments, but we communicate very well, and I want us to be an example, so that our special needs community, our moms and dads, don't feel as though no one's listening. Or I mean, it special needs has no race attached to it. You know what I mean? It's everybody. And we're actually
Yeah, that's right.
family. You know what I mean? There's no reason why we should be divided. But I feel that kind of way. I feel as though we're not coming together. And I pray that with Alejandro and the young man that was left at the park and ended up finding him in a creek 3 days later. I hope these stories touch our parents' heart and think, hey, you know what, let's bridge the gap. And their voices, this was created way before Alejandro. You know what I mean? And now it confirms, and I'm going to go even harder with reaching out to everyone that I can, Jessica. And I just thank you for being there as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's just what we should be doing anyway. I mean, I don't do anything that I try to set an example for people. Just like I teach my children, you're going to have people that not everybody's going to like you, and those just aren't your people, but you still love them, show them kindness and show them love, and, hoping that with your example that they'll find their way. And some people don't, unfortunately, but you still love them and you still try. But it's just, I mean, I'm out here for my community, not just my community, but for everybody. I do a lot in my community, what I can with what little means I got. But if that just means I can be a listening ear and give some advice, things that I've learned along the way, and it helps someone else, then I know that I'm doing my job. And I mean, I don't get paid for any of the stuff that I do. I do it all just pure love. And I think, we're so disconnected as a country with politics and race and things like that, that we forget that we're all human, and we're not all perfect, but we still need to love each other. And, just like, the young man that we lost in Southern Georgia here, with that shooting, and
Ahmad.
that's horrible, and that should have never happened. And Ahmad, and it's just like, it's just so hard, and it just, it brings out so much hate, and then it brings out so much love at the same time. But it's like,
it does.
I see more love than I see hate. And that's what I want to keep seeing. But like I tell people, when I see so many people arguing on these online Facebook groups about Ahmad, saying stuff, and I'm just saying, I step back. I never comment. I just read, because I've learned sometimes, even though I have good intentions and I'm showing the love, it's because I'm not Black. And sometimes I get, and it's just like, look, I don't want that to happen to anybody else. That should have never happened. Anything prior should never,
Right.
Trayvon Martin, that should not have happened, but it's just like, when someone's there to support you and your community and your race, embrace it, because they're trying to bring light that we need to fix it. And
don't take it personal. And
even like the special.
Well, yeah, I want to stay on the special needs community, but I will speak on Ahmad Arbery. Don't take a lot of it personal, and I won't go into that, because simply when there's a murder, and I will be honest with you, a lynching, and you feel like you're being chased down, and I mean, it's a lot of emotions, and sometimes you can speak on it, and you probably mean so well, but if you don't know the right things to say, if you feel that someone is not receiving it, and that's unfortunate, I'll just let it be and allow us, those that are really, really taking it hard, just like any other race. There's a lot of races that have been touched by that. And I'm still, as you see, it's my profile. So but I want to, that's another, I mean, I could go on and on, and this conversation will go left.
Well,
So,
I mean, you can tie it in with you can tie it in with special needs. You know, a lot of people, if you don't have a loved one that's special needs, you honestly do not know the struggle. Just like when it comes with anything that's race, you know, or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. It's just a lot of times it's like step back, listen, read, pay attention, and so you
yeah,
know how to move forward,
I just
and
hope,
so you know how to support somebody.
right, I just hope,
And I
I,
think with
I hope that
Alejandro's
who
case,
did
it's
that to
important
Ahmad
that
Arbery,
people understand.
I hope the the monsters that murdered Ahmad Arbery, I'm just praying for justice. And to go back to the special needs community, because again, that's a whole different topic. I pray that people, as you said, that don't have children
Yeah.
with special needs will still support this cause, their voice, and share this message with everyone. And, I may even get some
Hmm.
cards printed up, Jessica, just to say, hey, anybody with special needs, um, that has a child with special needs, please, have them call us just so we can, and I will be overwhelmed, but I say bring it. I believe God is not going to give me more than I can handle. And if I can be a support system for a parent, I want to be
Hmm.
that voice. I personally, listening to, you know
Yep.
about more about Alejandro's situation more than I do, but hearing she just didn't think she could handle it. And how old was he? How old was Alejandro?
He was 9 years old, nonverbal,
Poor baby.
autistic. Hmm. Yeah. It's just, it's hard to me because my son Preston's autistic, and he was nonverbal up until after his alleged school abuse. And I know how hard it was for him to communicate. And it was just like, fortunately he had to go through trauma, and that trauma of the school abuse, that it just pushed him to speak. And I mean, even though he can speak now, I still am his voice, and I'm just hoping that, we can get this country to really step up and be the voice for a lot, not just special needs, but everybody. But really, we need it for our special needs community, not just for our children and special needs, but, they grow up to be adults, and we really need it. I mean, there's a lot going on. And I mean, even for the adults that are in group homes that are special needs, and they need our voice. They get overlooked a lot, and they do have a lot of alleged abuse going on there. It's been reported, and just like in Florida when you had that one younger gentleman that was autistic, and he was sent with his caregiver, if you remember, in a parking lot, and he was trying to the caregiver was trying to calm him down, and the police officer thought, that was something else, and then goes to shoot. We need a lot of training too in our law enforcement and our child services and things like that. And I think that this Alejandro's case is going to open that back up. But we really need to embrace this in honor of him with his life lost, that how we step
Yeah, there's
forward with
so
this,
many things that they're gonna
and
hopefully will
make
shed
changes.
light.
So
I'm hoping it
it's
will.
just, it's very heartbreaking.
I really do hope it sheds a
Yeah.
lot of light on everything. And I really
And
hope
I mean, I don't want anybody. Yeah,
I hope we get the
exactly.
law passed for um to highlighting hate crimes. I hope that that's some legislation, even though that's not special needs right now. We're discussing
Yeah.
their voice and special needs, but there's a lot of things that I want to see in place, and I'm going to fight until it's done. Like I said, I don't only speak for our children with special needs and their parents. That's just my realm now, because I do have a 14-year-old with special needs. Landon is nonverbal, and I will say the school that he is attending or was attending before COVID-19, it was okay. I liked it. I was, pretty pleased. You know me, there's no perfect place for Landon unless he's with me homeschooling. But mama's got to work. Mama's got to help get some bills passed. And so I am definitely hoping to see major change. And this is all around the board. It's just saddening. It's sickening. I get angry. I do, and I have to remind myself to remove the emotion. Because through the one thing that I will say,
well, it's kind of hard not.
I'm sorry. Something that I read on
it's just human to have emotions. So
yeah, but unfortunately, when you're dealing with politics, people, I mean, they don't want to deal with it. But I want to share something with you that was on the New York Post. It was an article about rats and how they started becoming cannibalistic because of the lack of food that they had in the restaurants, and they started devouring themselves. And, it's very disgusting as it may seem. But if we're not careful and we start fighting one another, we'll end up becoming as cannibalistic and devouring each other. And we all know that's just, that will continue. We become hateful. It will cause us to have animosity. And that's definitely something that I'm fighting against. There's so much, there's so much pain and agony, and ultimately, which rewards us selfless, sacrifices that unfortunately this world is built with. And I could go on and on. That's why I try to stay focused on certain things. But when something comes up, I'm only human. I'm going to dive right in. And I definitely want to just alert our viewers and our listeners that I want them, when they see a parent with a child with special needs, they see a parent walking or talking, I want them to say, hey, here's a card. If you need any help, or, and sometimes they get offended. People get offended because I know I was one of those parents. I was at Walmart and Landon was having his meltdown. When I tell you, he was really, really, really unhappy. He actually laid out on the floor. And me, I'll sit there and let him, okay, Landon, are you happy? And people were looking at me, and he finally got up and we walked to the car, and this lady followed me out and said, she said, you know what? I watched you and I want to let you know it's going to be okay. And you really, really have patience. And I'm going to be praying for you. And I looked at her and I smiled because she talked to me as though I was a parent that was overwhelmed, and I wasn't. I was just like letting Landon do his thing, and, but I told her, I said, thank you very much. And then my daughter said, oh, she's an advocate. She already knows. And I said, no, it's okay. It felt good knowing that someone reached out to me, because that's what I do to other people. You know what I mean? So it just takes one to know one.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day,
well, see, someone gave me a suggestion, and I'm going to give this to the viewers. Oh, sorry. I was going to give a suggestion that was given to me from Sandy Marcus here, an advocate here in Georgia. Back when in 20, what was it? When I first, it was probably about 2015. Yeah, she gave me a suggestion that she does, and I did that. I need to do that again. She said, if you want to, just kind of just show someone, that you're there, especially special needs parents, go online and you can go and print off some business cards, but just like put your name on it, maybe your phone number and your email address,
Yeah, I didn't really did that. I was just thinking of
a parent that, you talk to. Yeah. And I did that for a while, but I ran out. I need to make some more. But I mean, that's something that anybody can do, and just say, hey, I'm here for you. We just met. We're strangers, but
right.
Hey,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm
not
here
because we have special needs.
I mean,
parents that don't have.
It's very important.
Yeah, just as you said, not just parents that have.
I mean, anybody, because. Yep.
There's a delay in this, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. This is we call it technicalities. How about that? But yeah, so there's parents that, as you said,
Yeah.
don't have children with special needs, and they are supporting us, and I receive it. And we don't need to act as though it doesn't exist, because we do have great people in this world, but we need more. I wish that I mean, you just sometimes, don't you wish you could just talk to
Mhm.
Miss Ripley to just, man, and we're going to hear more about the story, who was surrounding her, what her friends were. Well, obviously she was definitely not as strong as I would have hoped her to be, because she killed her son. I mean, that sounds harsh, but it's the truth, Jessica.
Yeah. Mhm. I mean, and that's where you're gonna have a lot of. There's already comments going around, and it's just like, I'm not gonna comment on any news thing or anything on social media about this case, because people, it's raw emotions right now. We don't have a lot of the facts. There'll be more information coming. It's really important when things come out there in the news that we step back for a minute and let more information come, so we can have a more clear picture of it. Because I agree, I'd like to hear from her. I'm not saying, we're not condoning anything. It's just being
Right.
able to
Well,
understand where she's coming from, because the only thing that I got right now that she said was he's in a better place. I need to know more about that. I really need to know, so
right.
I can have a better opinion about it. Not saying I'm not condoning, but I gotta have a better, clear picture of it, because it's gonna bother me
I'm
until I
telling
can
you,
get a clear picture.
exactly. I want to dissect this entire story, because I don't want to pass judgment. All I know is this young man is no longer here, and that angers me. It angers me, especially because I'm a
Yeah.
mother of a child with special needs. And again, obviously, she's not as strong as I am. And I want to dissect this information. Like Diana Elliott, I her story, being arrested, being overwhelmed. I mean, I want her to speak her own case, and I won't go into details, but she was definitely an
Yeah.
overwhelmed parent. The beautiful thing with that is her son is still alive and well. Praise God for that. Now, this woman,
Yes.
Miss
Yes.
Patricia, it's hard. It's hard for me to say, it's hard for me to shut up. It's also hard for me to hear someone speak negative about her. I don't know if that makes sense to you, because people don't understand that it's deeper. If she was overwhelmed, never would I excuse it. Not one time. I am so sorry. I can't find the words to excuse it. I am not God. Okay.
It's,
But not even,
yeah.
but I'm just going to say mixed emotions. They're raw. And like you said, I'm going to pull back any comments that I see. You gotta let it go. You gotta just let it flow. And if someone asks me my opinion now,
Yep.
and if and I may shed light a little bit if I see something harsh,
Yeah. That's different.
once I find out the story. You know what I mean? And I know people are saying, what do you mean you need to find out the story? She killed her son, point blank. There's nothing else to find out. And my response to that is no response, because that's when the conversation can go left. And
Well, think of it this way. Well, let me break it down. Well, let me break it down for the viewers, okay? For what you're saying. Let me take it to another, outside of Alejandro's case. When we have school abuse, okay, and our therapists are on point with me on this. When we have school abuse, okay, we need to know when it
there
comes to
you go.
behaviors. Like say the school says, well, I had to restrain the child because they were overwhelmed. We have to dissect it down like detectives. We need to know what happened before the incident, during the incident, and after the incident. So when you just told them, you need to know more. That's what we need to know. We need to know what happened, how she was feeling before, or what was going on, And then, I know we probably won't get full answers of what during this time, that hour and a half frame of those two incidents. And then after, I need to, there's always three things we have to look at on every case, anything going on. And I think, that's the way to break it down is we have to know what happened, we need to know the whole story. And that's when we say that, that's what we mean. We need to know before, during, and after. So it's very important that's what we do. Because a lot of people will just jump, and to really be an advocate for the special needs community, that's things that we've had to learn to do. You've had to learn to do that. And that's why we, with the cameras, we're pushing for the cameras, here in Georgia, you and me, and Ron and Valencia and a lot of others. But in this case with cameras, can incorporate that into Alejandro's case. The cameras caught the first attempt, and cameras caught didn't catch her in the second attempt, but I mean, where she was successful at her son drowning, and it was considered murder. But the Home Depot's camera caught her with her car, where she left her car with him. She came back alone, and she was there for 15, 20 minutes, and then she made the phone call. There was a timeline. So cameras, again, is vital in all aspects of special needs and our communities, period, for everybody. So, there again, there's cameras in the play. And I'm just wondering when the time is going to be that these legislators and our president will step up and say, you know what, we need these cameras. We need cameras. They are the last final say of a lot of things. Now, cameras don't always catch everything, but they are a voice, especially for those with little to no voice of their own. And so, that's where us advocates, you and me, and all these others across our country, that's where we come and play, and we're saying, hey, we're going to speak for them,
And what?
we really need these cameras, right there is another thing with cameras. So
those camera shows that it was something that she thought about. A lot of things happen when our children, unfortunately, are allegedly abused in our schools, and we know about it. It's always an accident. Okay, it was an accident. We don't have proof that it was an accident because there's no cameras. Well, the cameras with Alejandro, his mom obviously had been thinking about this because it did not work. She continued. And I want to say some other things, but I can't right now. I'm going to hear the story. I would like to hear, because I'm going to take it deeper. So with that being said, she thought about this. She went back, and as a mother of a child with special needs, I'm going to have to say this, and I'm going to be done with this until I hear the story. What was she thinking? You know me, there's so much I'm trying to keep from saying.
Yep.
And, but yeah. Rest in peace, Alejandro.
Yep, I think that's what it is. We love you.
Rest in peace, Ahmad Arbery. I mean, and honestly speaking, and I know I said I didn't want to get into that because that's another that hits home to me like none other, because it was clear racism. I mean, I feel I've not heard the story. I don't know what else to say or what else to make of it.
Oh, it was.
But my thing is that, and there goes my emotions. When my emotions start working, I start thinking about everything, and this happened and that happened, and it just goes on, and it angers me. It angers me, and it continues to anger me. And
we with we were talking about cameras, with Alejandro, but I know Ahmad's not special needs, but going back to the cameras, which is really important. I always want to
There
talk
you
about the
go.
cameras real
A
quick.
camera.
But one last thing
Right.
with the cameras, but for Ahmad, he was being accused of trying to, terrorize, supposedly terror. I'm gonna say terrorize. Well, I don't even know what correct terms to use anymore, because it's just disgusting. They're trying to say that he was breaking or messing with his house. The cameras that the homeowners had in that they were, rebuilding that home did not show that, And then you had the individual that's now arrested and behind bars for filming. Again, it doesn't matter if it's a phone camera or a stationary camera. It caught footage that helped.
The camera
The cameras, we got them throughout our whole. They're everywhere. They work. I mean, so president, when it comes to these, it's president to state this stuff when we're talking about cameras and putting them in our schools for these special needs students. Yes, we need them in all classrooms, but we have to start with our most vulnerable students that need the most voice, the most voice, and it's not like Ron Hatcher always says, cameras keep students from being abused and teachers from being accused. So, we got some good teachers out there. Just like your friend that teaches from Atlanta that, she thought something was going on in her classroom. So, she planted a camera and caught the two aides abusing students. Right. Especially just that one student specifically, like a target that young gentleman in that classroom. And she
no, I'm sorry, that wasn't Williams. I'm sorry.
Everything for those children.
That was Sherry Creeley. But I was just saying, you're right. There's a lot of great parents of children with special needs, and I just want to get a shout out. What just comes to the top of my head, and that's Lisa Williams, Judy Marshall, Chrissy Marrero, all of the Georgia special needs community, Southside. I mean, I love you guys. Let's work together. A shout out to Carol Sandler. I adore her. And the Vances.
Yes.
Everyone that supports our children. We really, 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 let's come together. I mean, obviously, I am African American, so I am definitely haunted by what's happened to my brother Ahmad Arbery. I'm a parent of a child with special needs, and I'm haunted with what just happened to Alejandro. And how about I'm just human? Being human has no color. There's no color line. It's human. Having compassion, and speaking of compassion, there's nothing worse than someone having power and not being compassionate. And that's what I say about our leaders, our new leaders that are trying to step into the world of legislation. Please do not be afraid to be compassionate for our community, for our elderly, for everyone. That's what I'm hoping. And I mean, we can go on and on and on, but unless you have something else to say, Jessica, we could.
Yeah. Mainly, we can always touch back base if anybody wants to hear more about this. We're going to cut out a lot of the. We can always bring Alejandro's case back up later. Reconvene this discussion if more information comes out, and we can just talk about that later on. I'm hoping that we do. I know it's going to be hard, but it's important that we do. And if anything else, but mainly, if you're listening and you need somebody, reach out to us. And the easiest way to do it without having to look all over, go on Facebook, look up Georgia Special Needs Georgia Cameras and Special Needs Classrooms. Send us a message. You're going to see, we're going to see it, and we're here for you. You don't have to be from Georgia, anywhere. If you want to talk to someone maybe closer to your state, I can help you with that. I have a lot of connections throughout the United States. You don't have to even be special needs. If you hear of someone in your family, your church family, your community, a parent struggling, reach out. I can connect you with a lot of, if they're getting bullied in school, you don't have to be special needs, it can be, you know, gen ed. But I have a lot of connections with anti-bullying organizations, and there's a lot of programs they have. We have a gentleman up there in Pennsylvania, Miss Claudio. He's a principal, but he also has an anti-bullying organization, and he actually donates brand new pairs of shoes, usually Jordans, Nikes, you know, like that. And he usually awards them to students that have been bullied in school. There's, you know, and he's very good. So reach out. There's a lot of connections I can help you with. I'm more than willing to share them with anybody, but there's people working. If there's nobody you think you have, you do have us. You know, you don't have to know us. You don't ever have to meet us in person. You can be as discreet as possible, but if you need somebody, reach out. We're here, because
If we can help you,
obviously
then
with
we're gonna,
Alejandro, his mother needed somebody, and she didn't have it.
right. And if we can help you, then we will definitely find someone that can. And not saying that we don't have a life, we do, we're very busy too, but we definitely will do I believe in going the extra mile and going beyond the call of duty when it's something that I'm very, very compassionate about. And it motivates my passion, actually, when I know someone is in need. And it pours fuel to my passion one. So definitely don't hesitate, so that we can all support one another. And again, if we can't, we'll find someone. Again, there's so many resources. I just want to give a shout out to some of the resources. I like to obviously start with my foundation, the James and Mary Foundation. We're a center for people with special needs in every aspects of their lives. We help with housing, employment, advocacy, independent living skills. I interpret for our consumers that are hearing impaired and are deaf, but not limited to assisting with our consumers in becoming business owners. Obviously, their voice, Jessica Wells, myself, and Ron. Ron has a lot of things that he's doing as well. He has a company or talk show, They Can Talk But We Can. Libra Hicks is I believe, the CEO of our children's story. She's the founder and CEO. There's a lot of resources here in Georgia. In LA, Danielle Alvarado, who I can't wait to get back home to Compton in LA and work with her. Tara Hedinger, she's in Ohio. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And right now I'm just talking all over the place because my emotions are literally like all over. I'm saying, what's happening? What's happening? Well, thank you. Thank you all for listening. Were you done, Jessica? Were you done, Jessica?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell everyone that
yeah, I'm finished. I'm never really finished, but you know.
I know, you and me both. We're so energetic when it comes to, and that's why I love you, because you're just like me. And but I would like for everyone to take some time out and say a prayer for the family of Ahmad Arbery. That pain, I don't ever want to feel ever. And let's not forget about Alejandro tonight. And let's do a prayer for his family and a prayer for the mother. And as sad as it is for me, I was about to say something that would have probably caused an uproar, but I'm not. But anyway, yes. Everyone have a great evening, and we'll see you again on Their Voice every Monday at 11 o'clock, and we're going to be adding some extra hours, so stay tuned. And we'll be back tomorrow for a special guest. Thank you.